Hey Pectus Warriors, it's Riley Byrne from FixPectus.com. In today's video, I'm going to answer your questions. So I put up a poll on my Instagram at PectusPT, asking people to ask me questions and I'd answer them. And so I'm making a YouTube video answering 10 of the questions from that people have asked. So let's get right into it. First question. My pectus was made in the pandemic when I was chained to my computer. How was your pectus made? Now, firstly, pectus is typically something you are born with. I was born with it. There's a photo of me as a baby that shows my pectus. It typically develops, like mine worsened, I think, when I was 12 or 13. That's pretty common. I don't necessarily know if your pectus would be made in the pandemic. I would say you probably had a mild case of pectus, and what happened when you were chained to your computer is your posture got worse and you probably got skinny because you weren't working out. And so your body composition and posture then made your pectus a lot more obvious. And this is very, very common. A lot of people reach out to me and the only reason their pectus is an issue is because of their posture and body composition. And this is perfect scenario for me as a coach, because these are the things we improve with training to make pectus look better. And so that is probably what happened, okay? So I'd say most people are born with it. Some people do develop it in puberty, but it's not something that just gets like made due to being on your computer, but it gets accentuated due to the postural elements and the lack of muscle that will come from being sedentary and on a computer all the time. I hope that makes sense. Next question. Do you have to always be flexed or consciously trying to hide your pectus? No. When you get your physique to a certain point, even relax, like I'm sitting down right now. Okay, it's when you're sitting down, it's never gonna look the best. Even relaxed, you're gonna have a good body where your pectus is less noticeable. Obviously, if I were to flex, it looks a lot better, but even just relaxed, it still looks pretty good, I'd say, I hope. You just need to develop like almost your best body, and then even when you're lean, when you're lean enough, like 10 to 12% body fat, which is what I try and get from my clients, is a sustainable level of low body fat, and you get enough muscle, you'll look good even with a relaxed physique. However, obviously flexed or even with a slight flex is gonna make it look better always, 100%, but you can look good and make your pectus less noticeable, even relaxed once you build your physique to a certain point. Can you get good result without eating properly? Absolutely not. Nutrition is so key. You need to have enough protein, you need to eat, the right amount of calories depending on if you're trying to gain or lose weight. Nutrition is so key. You want to be eating unprocessed whole foods. That is going to be fundamentally important, and it's honestly like my client results you see that are the best client results I get are guys who really dive into the nutrition. On top of that, for me, I wasted 2 or 3 years with no attention to my nutrition when I started the gym and got minimal results. Once I learned about calories and protein, tracking my calories and eating good whole foods, my results accelerated tenfold. It makes such a difference. So no, you can't get a good result without nutrition. How long into the workouts can you begin to notice change? So my clients typically see a change, they feel a change within the first couple of weeks or a month in terms of posture, in terms of more energy, but a visual change normally takes about 1 to 2 months to start noticing results. And then in a year, it's a crazy visual change in which the pectus is significantly less noticeable. Can pectus affect playing sports so much that you cannot play professional? Pectus varies in its severity. I'd say most cases of pectus are not going to affect you to the point where you can't play professional. Obviously, some cases are going to be really deep and affecting your heart and lung capacity and function. So it depends on the sport and depends on the case of pectus. It's a chance, but I'd say most people who are worried that it's going to be affecting them are over-exaggerating that, and they'll be able to achieve a lot. Divorce the story of your limitation and marry the truth of your unlimited capacity. It's a quote that I love, and remember that. So I would say in most cases, pectus is not going to affect your ability to be a professional athlete. Look at Cody Miller, look at Thomas Chacon. They're examples of Olympic champions with Pectus Excavatum in swimming, the sport where you have to take your shirt off. How do you know if your pectus is moderate, and how can you measure the depth? So I've made a video which I'd recommend checking out on my channel, which is like how to tell how severe your pectus is. There's a variety of ways. The best thing is to get a CT scan and get a Hauler index, and then you can actually really get an actual classification as to how severe it is. Subjectively, you can look in the mirror, you can take photos, compare yourself. In that video I made, I have like different examples of like the different severities. Or you can book a strategy call with me and I can have a look and tell you like what I think in terms of like the cases of pectus I've seen and how severe it is. The best way to measure depth is the Hauler index, as I said before. There's a system where you can put a you put a tape into your chest and then a ruler across, and then you can see the depth. But the problem with that is as you develop your pecs, that number's going to get accentuated even though your pectus is going to be looking better. So it's flawed. The best thing is a scan and a Hauler index. Nothing else will really work too well in terms of measuring it. The next question is, how long did it take for the muscles to cover your pectus? It took me a year or two with limited results due to not paying attention to my nutrition, as I mentioned earlier. Once I started dialing that in and I started focusing on building a good foundation and training properly with a proper program, progressive overload, I probably got really good results in a year to make my pectus highly noticeable. And obviously I've just kept building on my physique. And now for the last 5 or so years, I've just been trying to maintain my physique because I've been happy with where I'm at. Next question, will spamming push-ups help? No. I mean, yes, it's going to be a stimulus to grow your chest, but it's not the best way to do it. But there's other exercises that are going to be better. And on top of that, if you're just doing push-ups and you're not balancing it with back and other things, you're going to make your posture worse, which is going to make your pectus actually look worse. So it might help to an extent, but if you're just doing that, it depends on what you're doing in conjunction with it. And I would definitely recommend just a weight-based routine in a gym, utilizing exercises and cables and dumbbells and all kinds of things. It's the best way to go. Then you can get better progressive overload, better stimulus. But spamming push-ups in conjunction with spamming pull-ups and maybe doing some banded face pulls, things like that would be pretty good. The next question, what is the best exercise to fix pectus? Well, there is no real best exercise because one exercise alone won't do it, but I love the dumbbell pullover, I love a dumbbell chest press, I love a cable fly. They're some of my favorite ones, but you need a good program. You need the best program, which is my program. But honestly, it is like I'm the only one with hundreds of successful client results, and I've been doing this for a decade. So that's what I would recommend. But those exercises I mentioned are some good ones that should definitely be in your regime. I've got videos on this topic as well as on my channel, so make sure you go through the videos on my channel. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that question. Next question. How should I eat when I have pectus? Should I try to bulk or stay lean? It depends. I don't know what your body's like. Most people with pectus are ectomorphic and skinny, so you should definitely be trying to lean gain. I don't love the word bulk because I think people then just eat shit and they get fat, and you don't want to be fat. You want to just build muscle. So you want to be in a lean gaining phase with a controlled caloric surplus, maybe about 300 to 500 calories above maintenance. That is what you should be doing, unless you're overweight, of course, and you need to lose body fat, because I think being lean and shredded and having defined muscles is key. So in that case, you want to be in a controlled calorie deficit with high protein to hopefully still be building muscle, or at least retaining all your muscle whilst you lose body fat. So it depends on your physique, and this is why I have my strategy calls. I meet the person, because the plan needs to be personalized to you, your nutrition targets, your training. It all needs to be based on you, your circumstances, and where you're at, because we all have different starting points. Yeah, to answer a question like that, I need to know you personally. So go to my website, fixpectus.com, and book a call. And that's it. That was actually the last question. So there you go. They're the 10 questions that people asked. Make sure you follow my Instagram, because I will be doing more of them, and sometimes I just answer these on the story. But today I've decided to make a full YouTube video out of it. I hope this was helpful. If it was, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video.